Hello and welcome to this presentation where we're going to take a look at the workflows that we here in Economic recommend that you are using to gain the best workflows with your documents. We're going to look at the document management if you are a customer who works in the Basis and the Plus subscription here in Economic. My name is Oliver and I'm the one who's going to introduce you to this course. Let me just skip to the next slide. Who am I? My name is Oliver, as I mentioned before, and I work here in Economic in the support, both on the telephone support and the chat support. That means that if you contact us in the support, you might get in touch with me. What will we go through in this course? We will go through the basic functions in the inbox. Actually, there's a video which is like an introduction video to the inbox. So if you haven't seen that, I would strongly recommend you to pause this course and then see that introduction video. This video shows, for example, how to get your documents into the inbox, which is really important when we're going to work with our documents in the inbox. Before we're getting started totally with this course, I would like to say that it is important for me to emphasize that this course is made for the customers that daily works in the Basis and Plus subscription. So if you're a customer who works in the Smart subscription, then we have another course where we are going through the same, but if you have like the Smart functions. So the first workflow we're going to look at is the one called Bank to Entry. The second workflow that we will go through is document to entry. And after we have going through these two workflows, I will show you where can you find your booked entries. And lastly, we're going to look at a teaser. So how can I automate? So if you would like to see what functions you get if you go to the Smart subscription, then we will shortly look at that lastly in this course. Let me just skip to the next slide. So here at the next slide, actually one of my good colleagues made this visualization of what we're going through in this course. It shows the two workflows. So let us start with the workflow called Bank to Entry. Firstly, Bank to Entry is the most used bookkeeping method there is in Economic. It has the advantage that it is an easy and simple way to handle the expenses and the income that goes through the bank. Furthermore, it takes its starting point in the bank, which we know for sure is something that we must book in our journals. Shortly, the flow is that we have our bank entries, which can be shown in the bank reconciliation. Then I have used the transfer function, which means that my entries is being created in the journals. When my entries are in the journals, I can match them with my documents. And if I don't have the documents, I can use the function document request. And we are going to look at that in Economic in a second, but I would also like to explain the other flow. So the second flow is document to entry. This flow takes its starting point in the inbox. That is the place where we can upload our documents, which is being explained in the video that I mentioned just before in the beginning. When your documents are uploaded, you have the opportunity to send it to approval if you want to. Then you can create an entry and send it to the journal. If we're speaking of supplier invoices, you must pay them at one point, and for that you can use SmartPay. SmartPay has its own course, therefore I won't go into that in this course. Then there's the telling about the bank reconciliation. Maybe you look at it daily, weekly, or monthly. That might depend on what kind of company you work for or what company you have. If you have some expenses, you can use the transfer function and then create the entries. And if you don't have the document in the inbox to attach to the entry, then you can use the document request function, which we're taking a look at in the first flow, so I won't go into that again in the second flow. So now I think we're ready to go to Economic. So let me just skip here from my slide. And then we are in Economic. As you can see here, I am in accounting, and then I have my journals here. I have two journals, which is called from bank and from inbox. And it's not because we recommend that you have that, but just for me, when I'm presenting this, I think it's nice for you to know when I'm working with the first flow and when I'm working with the second flow. So when we are here in the journal called from bank, then we're working on the first flow with bank to entry. Here, you should imagine that I had used my bank reconciliation and used the transfer function. That means that I now have my entries in the journal, so I'm ready to match my entries with my documents. And how do I do that? Let us take an example. I know that I have the document that belongs to the entry with the name vertex and the amount of 250. So to match the document with the entry, I have to use this function, add documents. So if I find one vertex 250, I'll go here and I press from unprocessed and I'll get this view. Then I'll find the correct document, vertex here. Then I can see, okay, this is the correct document, 250, and it's from vertex. Then I can attach it to the entry. So I press here and attach to entry, and we can see down here that the document has attached to the entry. So that is how easy it is to put your document on the different entries. I also know that I have the document which belongs to the entry called uno-x here. So if I do the same, pressing here, add documents from unprocessed, then I can see that my documents are here, and I'll just find the one called uno-x, and it's here. And it's the right amount. Then I'll again press attach to entry. Lastly, I have a little thing I would like to show you because we have a feature where you can drag and drop documents from the inbox. It's a cool feature when you're working on multiple screens. Because I only can share one screen with you guys, I'll just show it like this. So if I press the button up here, drag and drop documents from inbox, then the inbox will open in another window. And if I have two screens, then I can drag it over at the other screen, and then I can drag and drop the right document. So I have this document called Cafe Plantation, and the amount is 90. Then I can see here, if I drag it in again, I have this document here called Cafe, and it's the right document. So it belongs to this entry right here. Let me just drag it a little bit over, then we can see that I can drag and drop it here. So I'm moving one document, and then I just drop it, and then it's attached to the entry. So that's a really cool function if you work on multiple screens. Cool. I hope it makes sense so far. So what if we don't have the document that belongs to an entry? Then we can use the function request documents. So I'll just close the inbox here, and then we are going to look at accounting and then document request. Down here, we can request for documents. If we haven't got the document yet, then we can send a request to one of the users on the agreement. This function can be used if an employee has maybe a credit card or haven't given the document to the accountant or the person that has the responsibility for the accounting part in the firm. So when we're going here to request documents, you can see all the entries that don't have a document attached. You can create a filter up here to the right. So I press this active filters button, and then I can see which things I can search on. So maybe from a specific entry to a specific entry, from one specific date to another specific date, or then I can show booked entries or draft entries only. It's not possible to mark both of these, so you have to be sure if you're looking for a draft entry or some of the entries that you already have booked. So let me just cancel this, and then here you can send a request to users related to the agreement. And if you can't see the user in the drop-down menu, so if you are going here, I know that someone has been in 7-Eleven, then I can mark it here with a check mark and then send the request up here. And then I can open this and see what users do I have on this agreement. On this agreement, I have two users with the same name, and it's my own name. So I can choose between what user is it that I would like to send this request to. So if you can't see the user in this drop down menu, then you can always create a new user. So if I press this, then you can see that you have different types of users that you can create. If I open this drop down menu, then you can see that I can create a normal user. It's 119 Danish kroner a month. And then I can create a document sender, which only have mobile access through the app called e-conomic. This document sender is actually a free user, so it doesn't cost you anything a month. Let us try to make a request so I can choose the person that I would like to request for this document from 7-Eleven, and then I can send it. Then we can see here that it has been requested, and now the person who got the request is getting a notification on his or her mobile phone. You can see here that I have cheated a little bit, so I have already gone through the full workflow that we're going to look at here, this bank to entry, and I already have received one document. But now I have requested it, and let us see what or how does it look in the app for the person that has got this request. So now we can see that I have sent the request for this 7-Eleven entry. And then when I go to my slideshow, I can see here that I have some pictures from the document request. So how does it look for the person who is getting this document request? So we open the app, the first picture, the app opens, and we can take a picture of a document that we would like to send to the inbox. If we press at home down here, then we can see that we have some settings. There you can activate notifications. So if you will like to have some notifications when a document request has been sent to you, you can activate it in there. You can also, on the top to the left, switch between the agreements that you have access to. So if you are an user who has access to multiple agreements, you can switch between them there. If you click at the clock, you will get into the notifications. Then I'll get to the notifications and I can see I have a document request which is pending. And when I'm clicking at the document request, I can see some document details. Then I have the opportunity to add or reject. Then if I press add document, I will get this picture or this view. So the camera opens and I can take a picture of the document that I have received a request about. And if I have a match on the request and the document I'm taking a picture of, then I'll see these green markings. And then lastly, there's the sixth picture. If you don't have a match, then it will be red. And when you're trying to send it, you will get this view that we can see on the sixth picture. So the match is a bit off, it would say. So when the document sender has sent the document in, then what should the person that works in e-conomic then do? That is what we're going to take a look at now, and it's also the very last step of this workflow. So if we're going back to e-conomic, then I can see that I have received the document, and then I have to go to documents for review. So still in the accounting and document request, and then documents for review. Here I can see that I have the document that has been sent. I have some information about the journal entry. And here I can see that it says that it's more than 3 days off in difference. But actually it isn't because we can see the date up here and it's actually the correct date. So in this case, this is a bit off. Then I can approve it. And if I approve it, I can see that the document has been attached to the entry and I have no more documents to review. If I go to the journal called From Bank, I can see here the vertex, the amount of 52.9. Then I have actually a document attached to the entry. So if I click on Show Document, I can see that it's actually the document from the documents for review. So that was actually the last part of the first workflow. I hope it makes sense so far. So now we're going to take a look at the second workflow, which is document to entry. First of all, it is important to get your documents into the inbox. There are 3 different ways to do so, and it is all explained in the video that I mentioned in the beginning of the course. So if I'm clicking up here at my inbox, then I can see that I have some documents in my inbox. And then I have the opportunity to send my documents for approval. So if I click here, I can see that this document is the only one that hasn't been approved. If I click here and press send one document for approval, then I can choose between the users that have access to the specific agreement. So it has to be a user who has access to this agreement. I will have to require approval from any of the following approvers, and then I would like to have that is it is it's this user who's going to approve it. Then I can send it for approval, and when I'm sending it for approval, then it would be removed from the inbox and would show up in the section called pending approval. So it's out here in the left menu. When the approver have approved the document, it will come back to the inbox. So let us try that again. I would send it for approval. So now we can see that the document has been removed from inbox and is now down in pending approval. So when the approver have approved the document, it will come back into the inbox. So when you have sent a document for approval, how does it look for the person that has to do the approval? Again, I have some pictures from the app with me, so let's go back to the slides. Cool. So I have these pictures. And if we're going to take a look at the first picture, I have opened the app and then I have pressed at the home button. Second picture, here I have pressed into the settings, and here I can choose if I would like to have some notifications or not. I would strongly recommend that you turn notifications on so that you don't miss any approvals or requests. The third picture, when I have clicked at the notifications, then I can see that I have a document for approval, which is pending. Then I'm clicking it or clicking at it, and then I can see the document that I have been asked to approve. And if I can't see the whole document, I can take my finger at this and then just drag it down, or then I can reject it or approve it. If I approve it, it will remove from the section called pending approval and then back up to the inbox. And if I reject it, it will move down to rejected documents. So if I reject it, then I can use some quick responses or I can customize my own response. So that is how it looks for the person who is going to approve the documents in the app. You can also approve the documents in your email, and then it looks like this. So you'll get an email from e-conomic, then you can press at this button. So you have like see this document, and then you can see here that you can approve it and then you can reject it. You can also write a note if you would like to, and then press at save. So that is how it looks in the mail. So that is the 2 different ways to approve the documents. Otherwise, if you are the approver and you have access to the inbox because you maybe are a normal user, then you actually also can go into the inbox in pending approval. Then you can mark the one that you have been asked to approve. Because I'm logged in as the approver or the person that this document has been sent to approval for, then I actually can approve the document in here in the inbox. So I can press approve document here, and then it will be removed from pending approval. And then we go to the inbox and we can see that the document is now approved. We can see who it is approved by and on which date. So now I have all my documents approved and I'm ready to create my entries. So I click at this Smart Ny, and then I can see I can create my entries in here. So I can create it as a supplier invoice because this is actually a supplier invoice from e-conomic. The invoice number, it's over here, it's 445. Supplier number, I actually already have created e-conomic as a supplier, so I'll just press in here. The amount is 1,871.25, and my contract count is this one called EDB-udgifter/software. And then I can write a text, and then I can say economic invoice. And then I'm actually ready to create this as an entry. So I create it here, and then I'm ready to create the next one. Again, I have the date here, 14/03/23. Maybe I actually forgot to put in the right date in the first one from economic. So we can always look at that in the journals. So let me just do that after I have created my other entries. So I have the invoice number here, 446. Supplier number, it's the one called the Grønnerie. Amount 5,625. Contra account could be this one. And you can see invoice from DGR. Create new entry. Then I can see here, I would like to create this as a journal entry. Account could be this one. Amount is 1,923. It's from my bank. That's the contra account. And I can type in here a text, creative space. That was because we had a team night. Create new entry, and then I have the last one. Also a supplier invoice. I can see here is 24/10/22. Invoice number is 403. Supplier number is called Open Neon. Amount is 11,246.25. The contract count here could be again, then type in a text and then create entry. Then I can see I have no more documents in my inbox. So now we are ready to go back to the journals. Now the entries are created and they are in the journals as draft entries. If you like me, have some supplier invoices, then you can pay them with SmartPay, as I mentioned earlier. It has its own free online course, therefore I will not come across that here in this course. So we can see here the economic invoice. I actually have the wrong date. Luckily for me, it's only a draft entry, so I can always edit it. So let me just find out what the real date is. And the real date is actually, let me just open up. So the real date is this date. I can just quickly change that here. So if you, like me, make a mistake, then you can always edit it over here in the journals. Save, and then I have the correct date. Luckily for me, I didn't book it because then I couldn't edit the date. So after this, there's always the telling about the bank reconciliation. You might look here once a day, once a week, or maybe once a month, depending on what firm you own or working for. And then you can use the transfer function, and then you can add documents manually or send a document request. And we already come across these topics, so I will not go into that again. And this was actually the last step of the workflow document to entry. So now we have been going through the two different workflows. So what is next step? Often it would be a good solution to work with both of these workflows, but of course it is up to you how you would work. And here we have looked at two of the most effective ways to work with your documents in economic. So as I mentioned in the beginning, where can you find your uploaded documents when the entries are booked? Right now, these are only draft entries, but if you book your entries, you can always find them here in accounting, searches and lists, and then find entries. Then I can press OK. And then I can see here, maybe I have this called Uden bilag. I can press it here, show document, and then I actually can see the document that is attached to this entry. I can always remove the document if I would like to. And actually, if I do that, it says, do you want to remove the attached document and move it back to the inbox? So it's not going to be completely deleted. It would move the document back into the inbox. You can also find your documents in the charts of accounts. So maybe like this. I press out here on the ledger card, and then I again can press on show document, and then I can see the document that is attached. So that is just two of the many different ways that you can find your uploaded documents when the entries are booked, so they're not just gone for sure. As I mentioned in the beginning, I have a short teaser for the automatic features. So if I go back to my slides, then we can see here, just see, we go back. So we have a summary of what we have going through. This is the two different workflows. So here we actually have a short summary of the two workflows that we have been looking at in this course. If you would like to see the automatic features, I can just skip to the next slide. Here you can see what automatic features you'll get if you upgrade to the Smart package. So it's just to show you how you can automate your workflows. So this is just for the ones that are interested in that. And you can hear more about the automatic features on the course for document management when you're working in the Smart package, which is also an online course you can see. And that was actually the final words for me. I would like to say thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, just reach out to us on the following channels. Maybe we'll get in touch. And you must have a very nice day. Bye.